Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Oh my gosh, there's been so much drama going on between Briana, Kail, Javi, Chris, and that whole bunch ever since Tuesday night's episode aired. There's just been drama. I think I know everything. I think I may know the order of which everything has been going on. So I'm going to try to tell you guys everything that's happened since that episode aired. I'm going to try to put it in order for you guys. If someone notices that I've left something out, please email me at netnet216@gmail.com. Let's go ahead and let's get into it. So first, I'm going to start with not this past week's episode, but the week before last. So week before last, Briana, she drops a bomb on her sister Brittany saying, hey, I'm going to Philly to meet up with Kail's baby daddy Chris to do a podcast. Brittany was like, girl, this is trouble. This is drama. I don't know why you're doing it. Like, it's just going to cause us, drama. I wouldn't do it if I was you. And Briana's like, there shouldn't be no drama. It's a podcast. He has a podcast about single dads and he wants the perspective of a single mom. So we're just going to do that. It shouldn't be any drama. Brittany tells her it's going to be drama. Now, Briana gives like this little giggle, like, yeah, I know it's going to be drama and I'm fine with that. Now, this past week's episode, she flew to Philly. She took her girlfriend, Shirley. Her fiance, Javi, was not cool with it, really. Like, he don't know Chris. He's not comfortable with his fiance flying to another state to hang out with some guys, But he's like, whatever, do you think, girlfriend? It's business. I'm just going to hang in the back. All right, whatever. So they get there. They get to Philly. Briana and her friend Shirley, they rent an Airbnb. Chris Lopez and his friend Brad, they come over. They hang out. They chit-chat. And one of the things that they're chit-chatting about is the fact that they know it's going to be drama. They're like, but it shouldn't be. But we know that it is, And then Briana tells Chris, like, oh, well, Kail's already sued me. We're in this lawsuit, and I just feel like it's going to kind of make things worse. And Chris says he don't know about that. He's like, oh, I didn't know that was going on. I didn't know that she's filed a lawsuit against you, whatever. Now, the podcast, it was recorded during the episode. They shoot this podcast. They go to the Rage Room. They go out to dinner. They're hanging out. At the Rage Room, there was a part where where Briana and Chris, they were sitting kind of beside each other, and Briana reaches over and lays her hand on Chris's leg. And when she did that, the cameras were like zooming in, so everyone could see it. And I'm like, yeah, I got this whole vibe that she was very touchy-feely with Chris. She was very flirtatious with Chris, and I didn't like it. I felt like it was messy. She was being thirsty. I didn't like it one bit. I feel like everyone's probably got a side when it comes to this situation. People are team Briana. People's team Kail. I'm team Kail over here. I am. And I'm going to say, when Kail had Devon on her podcast, I did not get any vibes of this. Like, I did not get her, laughing and giggling and, oh, Devon, like Briana did with Chris. If you listen to the podcast, I've listened to some of it, not all of it, but very early on, like the first 5 seconds, I don't even know.
Come on, Chris.
I got this.
It was like, hi, Chris. She was very touchy-feely with him, so I just got the vibe that she was very flirtatious with him. So they go to the Rage Room, they go out to eat, they do this podcast, whatever. As she's there, she's having trouble with her fiance, Javi. She tells Javi that she went to the Rage Room, and he's not happy about that. He's like, I don't know how I feel about, like, my woman going and doing these things with men. I don't know them, And then she tells Shirley, she's like, Javi's not happy, but I just wish he could be more secure. Like, I don't like a man that's insecure, la-di-da-di-da. When she gets home to her mom, Roxanne, who is a man hater. Sometimes I like Roxanne, but sometimes I just disagree with her, right? And I feel like Roxanne and Brittany and Briana, they are like man haters for some reason. I don't know. But anyways, Roxanne's like, so what did Javi have to say? Did you tell Javi that you like hung out with Chris? And she's like, yeah, I told Javi everything. And Roxanne says, well, what did he say? And Briana said, well, what could he say? And she goes, oh, I know, what could he say? Like, he couldn't say anything, but what did he say? Almost making me feel like Javi, if he was upset or if he did say anything, he didn't have the right to say it. Yes, he did. That's his fiance. He has made a commitment, like a promise. Like, I want to marry you. I want you to be my wife. I'm going to be your husband. I bet if Javi was going out of town to hang out with some females that Briana didn't know, Briana would feel like she had every right to voice her opinion on that to Javi. And if Javi's mama was sitting over there saying, no, we don't care what Briana got to say, she can't say nothing, Roxanne, you wouldn't be too happy about it. So I thought that was like, I did not like it when Roxanne was like, oh, I know he can't say nothing, but I know he did, so what did he say? I didn't like it. Anyways, I have notes, you guys. Like, I have notes. I have everything written down, hopefully in the correct order. So anyways, that irritated me. The episode goes off and then the drama really pops off, because after the episode went off, you guys know the Teen Mom fans, they pick up everything. One of the things that they picked up immediately is that somehow Briana, she got a hold of Chris's Goosebumps shirt. So in the episode, when they were doing the podcast, when they were filming this podcast, Chris Lopez was wearing this Goosebumps shirt, right? Later on in the episode, when she is back in Florida, she has this shirt, right? So one might say, well, maybe she has the same shirt. I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. But whatever, we're going to cover that a little bit later, because it was Chris's shirt. He admitted it. Briana lied about it, but Chris admitted it. But anyways, so she come home with the shirt. So people are speculating. They're like, wow, why does she have a shirt? Obviously, they hooked up. Now, after the episode aired, people were saying all that. And then Briana, she starts posting like clips of her and Chris hanging out. She posts this little TikTok video over here where they're doing like the little dance. One thing that I noticed is right when it starts, she runs back and she like pats Chris like 3 times. Like I said, very touchy-feely with Chris. Like, come on, Chris, come dance with us. I had to remove the music because I will get like copyright claim, copyright strike over this music. But as you guys can see in this TikTok, they're hanging out, dancing together. They went to a restaurant where he tried oysters for the first time, and she's like laughing, and she's like, Chris, try it, blah, blah, blah. Very flirtatious, right? So after that, I got to get back into my notes, so hold on. Okay, after that, Kail Lowry, I guess she's decided, you know what? I'm tired of Briana, like, you know, trying to be in my life in some form or fashion. If it's not dating my ex-husband, if it's not doing a podcast with my baby daddy, Chris Lopez, then she's trying to meet up with Javi again. Also, I want you guys to remember that Briana was engaged to Javi, the tattoo artist, when she went to Philly. She goes to Philly, hangs out with Chris Lopez, all touchy-feely, all flirtatious with him. But before she went, she messaged Javi Mariquin, and this is what she had to say. I may be going to Delaware to film a podcast with Chris. Maybe we can do dinner or something then. Probably end of February, early March. Javi, who at first I was like, hey, go Javi, that's right. He's like, yo, man, respectfully, that just sounds like a mess for me to get involved. Whatever you and Kail got going on is between y'all. But my loyalty is to my son's mom, and I don't think us doing dinner after you do a podcast with Chris would be, 1, a good look, or 2, just not how I want to live. Briana said, okay, I understand. Heart. I wasn't going to tell anyone, not even my fiance. I wasn't going to tell anyone. Just keep it a secret so we can catch up. But maybe next time for sure when all this drama goes away. Have a good day, crazy. Kissy. I thought, wow, she's very comfortable with him to like do the heart, call him like crazy, and blow him this kiss, right? Like something's weird with this. I just felt like she was like too comfortable. It made me feel like they probably talk and we don't know about it. Like Javi's not sharing everything, right? Now, after Kail released those messages, Briana, she went on her Instagram and she said, if it don't have my number, it ain't real. And please post everything you have if that's the case. So she's like, if you do have her messages, post everything. But if I don't see my number up there, it's not real. Like, Briana, stop that. You know you don't want her to post your number. Devon did that one time and you threw a fit, which I don't blame you. I threw a fit too. But do not tempt Kail to post your number because she might do it. So after that, she's like, if it ain't my number showing, it ain't mine. And show the rest of the messages. So then Kail responds. And Kail responds by posting this on her IG. And what this is she went into Javi, her and Javi's messages. She went into the info to show the pictures that Javi has sent her. So she says, I don't have to hack when it was sent to me on FaceTime so he could see my reaction. Don't accuse people of doing crap they didn't do, or you can be hit with another lawsuit. So she's like, here's the proof that Javi sent this to me. It is in mine and Javi's messages in the info where it shows when someone sends you a message or a photo, you know, or a video. It's in that little info part. She's like, here it is. Then she says, this man literally told me to keep it in my back pocket in front of Bone, which is her redheaded friend. So Javi sends this to Kail and is like, keep this in your back pocket, right? Not only does she show this, but then she shows the actual screenshot of when Javi sent it to her. And this is the 107th photo in her photo camera roll out of 1765, right? So here it is. Javi sends it to her, and Javi tells Kail, she wildin'. Like, look what Briana just told me. She crazy. She wildin'. Can you believe she's trying to invite me to, like, dinner? And Kail, she goes, yo, clearly she feeds off the drama. And Javi goes, yes, she wildin'. That's OD. Odd, OD, I don't know. And then Kail says, tell her my name is Wes and I ain't in this mess. And Javi, he laughs. And then Kail says, like, great job shutting that down. So Javi sends this to Kail to make Kail believe, like, look at this. Like, I don't even talk to Brie. And out of nowhere, she's texting me talking about she's going to shoot a podcast with your baby daddy and she wants to meet up with me for dinner. Like, that's wild. Look at this. Kail is like, thanks for the heads up. I appreciate the way you handle this. After these messages go up, Briana's like, oh, heck no. So Briana has more messages and she posts them. So here we go, you guys. Here we go. So when Javi sent Kail the messages, right? The messages where he like shut that down. He sends that to Kail acting like Briana's just crazy to invite him to dinner. He didn't send all of the messages because after it was cut off, like what he sent to Kail, what he said next was this. And Briana posted this. He says, so really the question I ask myself moving forward is, does this align with where and who I want to be? So take Kail's TikToks, for example. At first, I thought, yeah, it's funny, fun. Then I realized it was only disturbing my peace because people thought we were together and I felt like I was back in the spotlight and I like my quiet. No one knows my business type of life. That's just my opinion. Again, I'm not trying to sound like you're doing something wrong. Don't want you to take it that way. So he's telling Briana, like, hey, I'm not trying to be rude, like shutting you down and telling you that I can't hang out with you, but it's just the way that it would look. And I'm really trying to stop doing things like that. Like, that's why I don't like to do these TikToks with Kail anymore, because the way that it looks and it just disrupts my life. So I just want you to know that's why I'm doing this. I'm not trying to be mean, but that's why I'm not going to meet up with you, is because the way that it would look, it would cause me trouble and I just don't want the trouble. She responds, they're still talking about the podcast too, right? She goes, well, we spoke about life. No drama was brought up or even spoke about anything else but being a single parent and the struggles. It was good. But yeah, I saw that and you're correct. I agree with everything you're saying. Because in the public's eye, I look like a man stealer, something, something, something. And that's cut off. You can't see all of it. Then he says, so just because, I'm curious, how did it go on the first podcast? Y'all stayed in Philly. So you telling me y'all ain't doing nothing? You ain't got to lie to me. So I think this message must have come after the podcast, at some time after the podcast, right? So he's like reaching back out. So just curious, how did the podcast go? You telling me y'all didn't do anything? And she goes, literally did the podcast, went out to eat, went to the rage room. It was literally chill vibes, nothing sexual at all. Trust me, I know I don't have to lie. I don't see Chris like that. Not for nothing, but he has nothing I want or need. I don't have sex anymore, especially with random people or people I'm not interested in. Fast sex is not fun anymore. I need my soul fed, and he does not do that. So she's like denying doing anything with Chris. Now, after that, they really start conversating. Oh, let me get to those messages. And Briana posts these, like her and Javi, after that, they really start like messaging back and forth. And she showed these, right? He says, that's great. Protect your peace, for real, at all costs. No show, no money, no dude. Nothing is worth more than your peace. And Briana says, I'm learning that for sure. And then Javi says, good. Good for you. For real, I'm in Miami all the time doing stuff. Who knows? We may cross paths again one day. So while he's telling Kail, like, I'm not going to meet up with her, she wildin'. He's texting her later on saying like, hey, I would love to meet up with you at some point. And she goes, for sure. I'd love for us to catch up. Maybe dinner. Hit me up whenever you're around and I will make time. And he goes, yeah, definitely. If you ever want to go visit Philly and be a tourist, let me know. It's right around the corner from me. She says, sure. At some point, we're skipping some messages here because like the next messages that we see that she released, Javi goes, yo, it really was like icing on the cake. I think we both knew that was our final goodbye without saying it. And he's talking about like their breakup, I guess. And then she says, yeah, I cried in the car when that guy took us. It was weird. And then Javi goes, hey, yo, let's not get emotional. And she goes, laugh my butt off, just saying. And then Javi says, remember the first time we danced? You were so shy. Shirley had to make you dance with me. And she goes, yes, in that whatever, hookah lounge. And she goes, ha, ha, ha. And then Javi goes, the only thing I remember was waking up next to you. Oh my God, that was the worst I've ever gotten. I don't drink like that anymore. Dead butt. And she goes, laugh my butt off. And he goes, I do remember that maroon dress. We were fly that night. And Briana goes, we sure were. And then Javi goes, I saw you got some work done since then. What'd you get? And she goes, I don't remember. I just went smaller for my boobs and a tummy tuck. And he goes, oh, nice. You happy with it? I think he was trying to get her to like send a picture. I think he wanted a picture of what she did. And he goes, what else do you remember about that night? And she goes, shh. And she goes, you go first. And he goes, nope, asked you. She goes, technically I already answered. And she says, I remember dealing with a lot of headaches too, but hey, that was in the past. Ha ha ha. And he goes, ha 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 ha. I thought we were reminiscing on good times. And then she goes, ha ha ha. So now he's like really like flirting with her at this point. Like he's asking, what else do you remember about that night? Like this is probably a night that like they were intimate and he's like wanting her to bring it up, right? All the while, he's over here telling Kail, yo, she wild and I'm not meeting up with her. Javi is a snake and a half. Now, this I find it really interesting, and this is me speculating, and this is my theory, this is me speculating. So he's like, you know, what else do you remember about that night, whatever, and she does like a sweaty face, like they were hot and bothered, sweaty face, and then she shows, it's like a poop emoji, which tells me he hit it from the back, and she pooped on him. That's my theory, and she does a crying emoji. My theory is they got really hot and heavy, she pooped on him, and she cried all night because it was embarrassing, and he goes, lap my butt off, ayo, lap my butt off, I am weak. And she goes, I am dying, ha ha ha. And he goes, I do remember that. And she goes, lap my butt off. So I don't know what else these emojis could mean. Like, he's like, what else do you remember about that night? And it's probably a night, like I said, that they got intimate. And she says she remembers hot, they got hot and heavy. She was so hot. And then the poop emoji. So she pooped on him. And then she cried from the embarrassment. I don't know. You guys tell me if you think I'm wrong here, but I think I'm right. Anyways, let's continue. Then she sends him a picture of what looks like her cleavage, maybe. And he goes, lap my butt off. That looks like it's straight from Google. And she goes, lap my butt off. I am dying. And he goes, I still want proof. I'm being catfished. LOL. And she says, LOL. I'll call you tomorrow. Stella is in my bed. So they've literally been talking, flirting with each other, reminiscing about old times where she may or may not have pooped on him. I don't know. She's sending him pictures of her cleavage. All the while, he's being a little snake, telling Kail that he wants nothing to do with Briana because she wildin', right? Right. Oh my goodness. He is such a snake. Then she says, Briana says, don't act like you ain't thought about me. And he goes, I still don't believe it's you. Got a FaceTime. She goes, LOL, I can call you tonight. He goes, bet. I still don't believe you. And she says, yes, you do. You're just trying to see me in the flesh when I just invited you to come here. And he goes, well, I'll have to see if it's really you. And she goes, ha ha ha. Javi missed Brie. Keep in mind, she's engaged. Then more messages, to be honest. I'm kind of confused because it's been so long. We ended rough. You talk crap on your live about me. Want me to keep going? And she goes, LOL. Thought that was in the past. But seriously, I don't ever hold grudges. I don't even remember half the crap that happened between us. It's been years, and who has time to hold on to it? We grown on this side. Then he says, I remember hooking up as much as we could before you went in. I'm guessing that's before you went in for the surgery because they were just talking about the surgery, I think. I don't know. I don't know what they're talking about. Like, before you went into something. So now he is bringing up, like, straight up, bringing up, like, I remember we were, like, doing it as much as, we could, whatever. And she goes, I remember that. I can't see all that. Me, so I was blind. I don't know. And he goes, LOL, you liked it. Stop playing. And she goes, LOL, I don't remember. So she releases all those messages. She literally, like, throws Javi under the bus. She's like, all right, Javi, you want to send Kail, messages that makes you look good, where you're like, no, I can't meet up with you. It's not going to be a good look. I'm loyal to my baby mama. Well, how about all of these messages where you're not loyal to her, where you're trying to bring up XYZ that used to go on between us? Here it is, right? She shows all that, and I'm like, wow, that is wild. That is wild. Oh my goodness. So then Javi messages Brie. Like in real time, messages Brie, which she turns around and she posted. And he goes, wow, you posted our entire conversation. Whatever you got going on with Kail has nothing to do with me, but all good. I should have known better. And she tells Javi, dude, you sent her our text, weirdo. Only half of them, not even everything. Saying I'm wildin'. LOL, the only reason you said no to going to hang out with me was because I mentioned Chris's name. Because before that, you said you was down to hang out. I didn't want to drag you into this, but my name is about to be dragged again. Hell no. So I can't believe Javi had the audacity to message her saying like, what, you posted our entire conversation? And she's like, well, duh, I had to, because you're making me look some type of way when really you've been cool with me. Like, we've been messaging, you've been like reminiscing, whatever. So yeah, I posted the whole conversation. I'm not about to get dragged without you getting dragged, because you're part of this as well. Yes, he is. Now, after that, Briana posted screenshots where she actually had a phone call with Javi, where I guess like they got everything straight. And she said this: stop being a weird, see you next Tuesday. Stop trying to start drama. Javi, M, and I are cool. We spoke about the situation. Stop sneaking into people's accounts and getting information. Javi and I are past the BS and drama. And then she said, it speaks volumes when nobody can ever stand in your corner. Literally showing where her and Javi had this whole phone call where Javi's like, oh no, she snuck in my phone and got that. I didn't give that to her. She snuck in my phone and got that. After that, Javi, he literally disappeared. Javi shut his social media accounts down after that happened because he knew he was in hot water. He knew that he was playing both sides and everyone was about to find out. So he shut his Instagram account down. Now, while Javi was running scared, the other Javi, the tattoo artist Javi, the one that is engaged to Briana back when all this was going on, he posted this on his IG. He said, your gut never lied to you. So basically saying like, I knew I had a gut feeling and I was right. So trust my gut from now on because I was right. Now, after that, Kail, she responded basically, you know, calling Javi out for playing both sides in the middle. And this is what Kail had to say. Take a listen.
Wait, I honestly don't know how this turned into Javi stuff right now. But Javi really doesn't want me to expose him right now. Because he's saying one thing to her, talking about these TikToks and people thinking we're together was disturbing his peace. But I have an entire thread of text messages that say completely otherwise. So y'all don't really want to fuck with me because I will expose every fucking motherfucker out here for their text threads that I never delete.
Okay, so there Kail was basically saying like, Javi's a snake, he lied to us, whatever. Now, at this point, all these messages come out. Yeah, Javi's absolutely a snake. The other Javi is like, I knew she was up to no good. All the fans have called Briana out for wearing Chris's shirt. So it looks like her and Chris, something did happen, to which she's denying, right? So she actually went live on her Instagram account. And this is what she had to say. You guys, take a listen.
I have a lot of those shirts. Let me see. I can't see. If it's a Goosebump shirt, I have like 20 Goosebump shirts. And I could literally take a picture of each Goosebump shirt I have on. We probably had the same shirt. Who knows?
I hate those t-shirts.
I love Goosebumps. Goosebumps is my favorite.
I just don't like with the logos on top. They're like dish rags.
I love Goosebump shirts. I have almost every shirt that's out.
Okay, so on this live, she said, oh no, I have a lot of Goosebump shirts. We probably just have the same Goosebump shirt. It's just a coincidence, which some people believed her. But then Chris Lopez, he got on his IG live. You know what he said? Chris Lopez was like, oh, she was cold. She was cold while we were together, so I gave her my shirt. They got caught in the whole lie. After Chris said that he gave Briana his short sleeve, thin shirt, because she was cold, someone commented and said, he said that he gave Brie his shirt because she was cold. And someone else said, I didn't know a short sleeve shirt can keep someone warm. They are both liars and pathetic. And someone else said, all right. Someone else said, look at Brie sucking butt on the live trying to socialize with everyone and Chris. Because when Chris went live, Briana was actually in the comment section of this live and she heard Chris say, oh no, I gave her my shirt because she was cold. At that moment, she had to have known, I said that it was my shirt. He just said he gave me the shirt. Now we're both going to look like liars. Also, I have to show you guys this. Here's screenshots. So when Briana was talking to her mom, Roxanne, and Roxanne was about to hand her the phone to show her the shirt that everyone was talking about, because right before all that was going on, everybody was like, how did you get Chris's shirt? How did you get Chris's shirt? She was like, what shirt? What shirt? And Roxanne's like, this shirt. Here's a screenshot of what they're talking about. Like, there's a split second where you guys can see that Briana actually starts smiling as soon as she sees it. When she sees it, she's like, oh crap, everybody knows. She smiles. Then she puts the phone like in front of her face where nobody can actually see her face for a second. I gather, giving her time to kind of collect herself, because she's like kind of giggling about it. Like, oh crap, they caught us, huh? So she's like trying to get a straight face. Like, oh, I have plenty of those shirts. It's not his. It's one of mine. I have plenty of them. But we know that's not the case, because he said that he gave her the shirt. Lord, so much drama. So much drama. Now, after that, there were so many comments, you guys. There were so many comments of people saying all kinds of things. I'm going to read some of the comments. I'm going to try not to read too many of the comments, because I know some people don't like that. But it definitely did seem like people were more team Team Kail than Briana. So, Teenmom.tea, someone said, Bree is using Chris to get Kail mad. Chris is just using Bree for clout for his podcast, and MTV is just egging it on. This is so messy. Someone else said, hate all y'all want, but Briana is bringing the entertainment. Nobody wants to see Kail picking out wallpaper. She got a point there. She got a point there. Someone else said, Briana, I wish my fiance could be more secure and not get mad when I fly across states to meet a dude I've never met before I do something petty just because I don't like his baby mama. Someone else said, you have a whole fiance at home, 2 kids, yet you left to go do a podcast with your co-worker's baby daddy for free. Someone else said, insecure. You doing a podcast with a man who's the baby daddy of your enemy for bad intentions, no solid reason, and you think your fiance is being insecure about that? So on the other side of the coin, like, a lot of people were siding with Kail, saying like, oh, Bree is being messy, Bree is being messy. But there were some people that are team Bree. Someone tweeted saying, Kail is just as messy as Bree, but y'all refuse to acknowledge that. I wonder why. And then someone said, Bree is held to a different standard. Of course, it's messy being on Chris's podcast, the same as Kail having Devon on her podcast was being messy. But I'm sure some are going to try and explain how another's dirty hands are different depending on the hands. Now, I get what they were saying, because a lot of people have said this. Like, oh, you guys aren't going to say anything about when Devon was on Kail's podcast. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Kail can't get mad at Briana for going on Chris's podcast because Kail had Devon on hers. Now, here's some other people's thoughts on it before I give mine. One person said, yes, but Devon is an actual cast member on the show. And she also invited Devon's girlfriend of many years. The girlfriend was there, not the same, and Kail has an actual podcast that people actually listen to. And Devon was there to promote his business, and he is her castmate. Chris is not. He is not a cast member, and no one listens to his podcast. Bree had no business speaking to him at all, and Sis had a fiance at this time, and calling him jealous, but talking to and flying out to see other men, and trying to see her older one too, talking about Javi. Don't hate Kail so much, you ignore the facts. I think there's a lot of good points there. Someone else said, y'all got to stop comparing Kail inviting Devon on her podcast to Bree going to Chris's. It's not the same at all. Kail invited Devon and his girlfriend. Kail has known Devon for years, and they were already friends. She never flirted with him. She invited him so that he could speak for himself, and she also was there to support his businesses. Bree has been messy and thirsty on Chris's Instagram for years and went out of her way to try to form a friendship with this man, and he wasn't even on the show. Let's be real. We all know she wouldn't have given him the time of day if he wasn't Kail's baby daddy. Someone else said, honestly, I'm so tired of seeing, but Kail had Devon on her podcast. Like, it's not the same, and it never will be the same. Bree is just trashy and messy. She's even sitting next to him. Why? She's just annoying at this point. Someone else said this, 100%. There's no comparison between Kail inviting Devon versus Chris inviting Briana. Chris and Briana did this purposely to attempt to invoke a response from Kail. They were being petty. And I agree, because like Chris said when Brad was asking him about it, Chris was like, you know, when everybody's watching the fireworks and it's like the biggest one and it explodes, it's entertaining. Yeah, I feel like that told us all that we needed to know right there. Like, he knew, or he hoped, that it was going to provoke Kail to respond and it would be entertaining for the show, I guess. Someone else said, facts, it's not even a successful podcast, and I bet Chris is about to get hella traffic to his podcast because of her name. He used her for clout and to piss off Kail, and Bree talking about he wanted a single mother's perspective. Okay, girl, because apparently you are his only option. I agree. That's a good point as well. Like, I feel like when I watched the episode where Kail had Devon on, Kail, she said it. She was like, I don't want to cause problems. This is not to cause problems. I feel like the show has not given Devon the proper platform to tell his story. So I want to do that. Also, Devon, he has businesses that I want him to be able to promote. And Devon even said, like, his followers went up after that. His businesses started doing better after that. So Kail, she really did do it to help him. I did not feel like Kail was flirtatious with him. She even invited his girlfriend, so his girlfriend could be there. I feel like Briana did this to be messy, while Kail did it to actually try to help Devon. So I personally do feel like it's different as well. Someone else said, how does Briana not realize how bad and desperate this makes her look? She told the world she had an STD. Little Miss Blue Waffle doesn't care how she looks. Oh my goodness. So someone else responding to the situation, how it's different between Kail having Devon on and Chris having Briana on. So someone else said, Kail did not try to sleep with Devon. She brought him on because MTV was not treating him fair. And look, they've made progress with him. Bree lost a whole fiance over this. Other people's comments, she was trying way too hard with the flirting and filming him. She was intentionally putting this out to get under Kail's skin. I honestly just don't get it. It's so weird at this point. Chris is playing this whole thing and Briana is eating it up. She is the one that's going to get hit the hardest in the end because we already know baby daddy is whack and now she is whack by association. So I feel like most people are Team Kail. Like, I feel like most people are like, yes, Kail did have Devon on her podcast, but it was different. It definitely seemed more professional when he was on the podcast. Like, there wasn't this like giddiness and this like laughing. And, you know, when they talked about the possibility of it causing drama, Kail was like, I really don't want that. Like, that's not why I'm having him here. But when Chris and Briana talked about the possibility of drama, they were like, so ha ha ha, yeah, we want the fireworks. It's entertainment, blah, 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 blah. So it's been a mess, you guys. I'm sure more stuff will come out. Actually, Briana, she did make some sort of statement. Let me get it up really quick so I can read it to you guys. So, since Kail already decided to sue me, I have not discussed her online. In fact, I even went as far as to instruct story sharing companies that I work for to refrain from sharing stories about her, as I don't want any drama with her going forward. I also tried to keep as low of a profile as possible with discussing anything pertaining to her. With that being said, though, I find it completely ridiculous that she has decided to yet again start drama with me by leaking texts between Javi and I. While she's clearly salty about the fact that I went on Chris's podcast, let's review a basic fact. She had Devon on her podcast first. Did you see me make a stink about it? Did I even mention it? No. You want to talk messy? That was straight up messy. Yet somehow, when it's the reverse, it's me who is messy for going on Chris's. Just like she could be friends with Devon and have him on her podcast, the same can go on in this direction. No. Talk about having a double standard much. So in order to further try to take a dig at me and my reputation, she has decided to leak texts between her ex Javi and I, who was my ex as well, prior to tonight's Teenmom.tea episode airing, where I go on Chris's podcast. It is not coincidental that she decided to do this today. And if you're reading the text, what was so bad? Me telling Javi I'd be in the area if he wanted to meet up? We didn't end up on the best of terms, but we certainly didn't end up on bad terms. So there's no reason why we can't be friends simply because Kail has an issue with me. One, she took so far as to sue me. What's ironic is Javi and I even texted after this and he misspoke on the phone. Of course, I told him I wouldn't share that as I knew he didn't want to be in the drama at the time. With that being said, though, he clearly gave those texts to Kail in some weird attempt to make me look bad. I guess he didn't inform her that we texted after that, spoke on the phone, and that he specifically told me to stay in touch. Kail wants to keep playing games with me and trying to stoke some fire because she thinks she has the upper hand and is on some quest to destroy me. I just advise everyone to think about the following quote: never assume the loud is strong and the quiet is weak. It's also interesting to note that she decided to pull this stunt on the day she's not featured on the Teenmom.tea episode. That seems salty to me, not to mention way too coincidental. So, she signed off with some advice to Kail. She said, I best advise she stop playing games with me, especially as we're both involved in a lawsuit that she started. I've already made my lawyer aware of her latest moves. Thanks again, Kaylin. Stay classy. Now, her mentioning the fact that Kail was not featured on that episode, at the end of that episode, it actually popped up saying that when Kail found out that Chris had filmed, that Kail refused to film. And then Kail actually put out a tweet saying that she refused to film and that she would not be on like the next 5 or 6 episodes, and that it was her decision for that. So while Briana is trying to make it out like, well, I find it very like funny that she wasn't on the episode and now she's being salty. Well, she wasn't on the episode because she preferred not to be. Like, it was her move that she made that kept her off the episode. It wasn't production doing that. I think I have everything, you guys. I think that's it. If something else comes out, I'll hop on here and let you guys know. This is going to be a long one. I hope I can get it uploaded. But yeah, so messy. And it started, because Briana goes to Chris's podcast. But even not this last episode, but the episode before that, where she's telling Brittany, and Brittany's like, how do you know him? It's Kail's baby daddy. We follow each other on social media. We started commenting on each other's stories, and then we started messaging, and then I gave him my number, and we're cool, we're friends. It's like, girl, there's no reason for that. It really isn't. And like other people were saying, if this wasn't Kail's baby daddy, would she even be going to do his podcast? Like, would Briana go on someone's podcast that they literally don't, like, the podcast doesn't do that well, they don't get a lot of listeners? If he was a nobody and his podcast didn't do that well, would Briana fly all the way to another state for free, do this podcast just to help someone out? Probably not. She probably did it because it's Kail's baby daddy, and she knew it was going to be messy. It was going to cause problems. It was going to tick Kail off, and I feel like her and Chris were both waiting for a reaction, and they really didn't get like an explosion like I feel like they were waiting for. She did respond a couple of times, but it wasn't like this big situation. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's my 2 cents about it, you guys. That's what happened. That's my 2 cents. What do you guys think? Are you Team Bree? Are you Team Kail? Let me know in the comment section below. Team Bree, Team Kail. Leave me your thoughts. But if you're Team Bree, obviously that's, opposite of me, so I want to hear your thoughts. Do not unfollow me because I'm Team Kail and you're Team Bree. It's not that serious, you guys. So anyways, leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. If anything else happens, I'll hop on here and I'll let you guys know. Give this video a huge thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye, everyone.